A stranger got in my car at an empty gas station and wouldn't get out. This happened just last night, and honestly, I'm still a little shaken up over it. I work evenings as a dispatcher in a medium-sized Midwestern city. I was driving home at 2 o'clock in the morning when I stopped for gas. As I was pumping gas, I noticed a middle-aged woman sitting on the curb across the parking lot. It was a cold night and had just started raining. The woman was not wearing weather-appropriate clothing, so she was drenched. When the woman saw that I was watching her, she called out to me from across the parking lot. My second of many stupid decisions that night was choosing to engage with her. I was worried for her, so I approached her to see what sort of help I could offer. "Hi, beautiful. I'm just trying to get home, but no one will help me," she said. "I'm trying to get to City A, but the cab ride is $60 and I only have $40. Can you help me?" I don't usually give money to panhandlers, but this woman seemed genuine. The weather was terrible, and my job centers around helping people, so I agreed. I told her I didn't have any cash, but if she would come with me inside, I'd take some money out of the ATM and give her a few dollars. But the ATM wasn't working. I apologized and told her there was something else I could do for her. She followed me back outside, idly chatting with me as I opened my driver's door to get in, and then she got in. I was too shocked to really say anything. I sat staring at her as she buckled herself into the passenger seat. As soon as she got into my car, her demeanor changed entirely. She no longer seemed forlorn as much as she did extremely excited and restless. "Just take me to my aunt's house," she said. "She can give me money." Of course, alarm bells are going off in my head. Although my first instinct is to tell her to get the fuck out of my car, my gut tells me that would be dangerous. She'd already proven to be unpredictable, she seemed to be high, and I don't know if she had any weapons on her. Forcing her out of my vehicle, I thought, had the potential to elicit a violent reaction. "Where are you asking me to take you?" I finally said. "Just start driving and I'll tell you where to turn." "No, if you want me to consider driving you somewhere, I need you to tell me where we're going," I say, with no real intention of driving her anywhere. "Don't worry, honey. I'm not gonna rob you or anything. Just drive." "No," I repeated. "What is your aunt's address?" "Okay, it's on Street A." "And what's the house number?" As I was asking her questions, she got really agitated. We still had not left the gas station parking lot. I considered getting out of the car and going into the gas station for help, but 1, she had seemed to know and be friendly with the one attendant that was inside when I tried to get the money, and 2, I wasn't about to leave her alone in my car. Finally, she snapped at me and said, "Why are you asking me so many questions? I thought we were friends. You don't trust me?" "I work at a police department," I said. "It's my job to ask these sort of questions." She flipped the fuck out. She started yelling at me about being a snitch, about trying to get her in trouble, just in general losing her damn mind. Now I'm more scared than ever. I just wanted her gone, but my instincts still told me asking her to get out of my car wouldn't work. So I decided to take a risk. I'm not a police officer, I just work at a police department. Why don't I take you to Walmart and see if they have an ATM that works? My idea was to get her out of my car as peacefully as possible, then lose her in the store. She liked my idea and immediately calmed down. I knew that driving off with this woman in my car was incredibly risky, but it seemed like my best option at the time. As we're driving, she keeps talking to me. Her thoughts were erratic, bouncing all over the place. It sometimes seemed difficult for her to follow through on a thought. Well, this is roughly how our conversation went. "I'm glad we're friends now. I have about 5 or 6 people trying to get me. I'm going to come to your work tomorrow so we can go arrest them together." "Okay, we can talk about that tomorrow. Tonight you said you're trying to get home?" "Yes, honey. I'm trying to get to City B." "City B? I thought you said you need to go to City A." Yeah, City A, that's what I meant. That's why the cab ride is $40, it's far away. The cab ride is 40? Yep, that's right. You said you have $40. I do. I have $40, but the cab ride is 60. There was complete silence. Are you sure you can't take me to my aunt's house? She lives close by on Street B. I thought you said she lived on Street A. No, I meant Street B, but it doesn't matter because she won't give me any money anyway. You sure you can't take me to City A? It was terrifyingly obvious that this woman was utterly full of shit, because the details of her story were constantly changing. When we pulled into the Walmart parking lot, she finally got out of my car, only after I got out first, and followed me into the store. I told her before we went to find an ATM, I needed to use the restroom. My plan was to call the police from inside a stall, but she followed me into the bathroom. And that's when things got really weird. She grabbed the crook of my arm and whispered into my ear, "If you don't have any money to give me, that's okay. But let me ask you something, sweetie. Do you like getting your..." and asked if I was interested in sexual advances. I told her no as forcefully as I could manage, bolted into a stall, and locked the door as fast as I could possibly manage. As soon as I had a barrier between us, I said, I have some friends at the police department that can probably help you better than I can. I'm just gonna call them and we can figure this out together." Again, at the mention of police, she started screaming at me. I just kept reiterating that they would help her. She snapped at me that she was just going to leave and stormed out of the bathroom. But it wasn't over. I waited to make sure she was really gone. Sure enough, not even a minute after she left, she came back into the bathroom and started banging on the stall door. And she said something that scared me more than anything else. "Hey, come back to your car with me. I left my beer in your car." I blatantly tell her that no, I saw her get into my car and she had absolutely nothing with her other than the clothes on her back. After that, she left the bathroom again and didn't come back. I waited a good 5 minutes before exiting the bathroom. I immediately found a manager who called the police for me. Thankfully, I was in a different police jurisdiction from the one I work in. I was mortified at how entirely stupid I had been the whole night and would have died of embarrassment if any of my coworkers had responded. The officer that responded took my statement and advised me to be more careful in the future. He said that sometimes panhandlers turn violent and that just recently there had been a report of a woman who matched my description assaulting a good Samaritan that had stopped to try to help her. "4 a.m. car cleaning. I'm graduating from university tomorrow, so I was determined to get an early night. I'd gone around to my friends for a sesh, but don't get me wrong, I'm not a pothead. It was more of a celebration. Anyway, I remembered I had to take my mom to the hospital. Nothing serious, but she had to be taken and picked up. Then I remember we smoked a bit in the car. Disaster. She'd smell and see it everywhere, so I made a mental note to stop and vacuum the car. We had a 24-hour gas station really close to us, but it's sort of on its own, as in there are no buildings or houses around. I pull in and look over to the shop. They use a hatch after 12 and don't allow you inside, but I didn't need anything. It had just ticked over 4 a.m. and I had to be up at 10 a.m. I just wanted to get this done and get out of here. The vacuum machine was behind the coal shed, but it was well lit. I cranked on some music on my phone and got to work. £1 for 4 minutes of vacuuming. Not bad, I thought. No one else was in the parking lot except one white van, but the guy inside was yelling wildly into his phone. Not loudly, just making a lot of gestures. I felt for him. Probably some guy who had been driving all night, but hey, I cracked on with the work at hand. Then I looked over again and caught his eye. He looked away and I laughed. Love at first sight, I thought to myself. I was in an amazing mood. Then it started to get weird. The summer sun was already starting to rise and the streetlights went out, including those illuminating the gas station. It wasn't that dark, but it was noticeably creepier, and I was keen to really get a move on. I stared over at the van and saw the man watching me again, still talking on his phone. But then something happened that I really freaked out at. I saw someone lean forward from the other seat and peek around the guy. Then they immediately slammed themselves back against the seat. That's when I realized the guy on the phone was in the passenger seat and wasn't driving. I hadn't noticed it when I drove in, but I shrugged it off and set the vacuum cleaner back, ready to leave. I threw all my stuff back into my car and went to unlock the door when a voice said, "Excuse me." I swear I nearly shot myself then and there. My heart was absolutely pounding, but I recognized the voice. The gas station was one of the same chain of stores I work in, and the guy who talked to me was my old supervisor. He moved to the 24-hour store not long ago. He began to shout at me for using the vacuum so late at night. The two guys in the van just sat and watched us as if waiting for him to go away. And then he said something to me that made this whole situation real. "I'm going to have to ask you to come inside." We aren't allowed to let customers in past 11, even in stores that open until 12. This is a big no-no, especially as I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. I allowed him to lead the way, and the moment we were in the store, he put the shutter down. He told me he'd been watching the guys in the van, and they'd been sitting there for nearly 3 hours. Little did I know, my old supervisor saw someone get out of the back of the van, and as he described it, put a bit of masking tape across a few numbers on their license plate, effectively creating a new one. I began to panic. Looking outside, I noticed the van was gone. After checking the CCTV, it was shown that they sped away the minute I was taken inside the store. We called the police and they examined what little footage was there. Immediately, they took the tape and thanked us for bringing it to their attention. At one point in the footage, the guy who got out of the back of the van turned to get back in, and it looked like he had a knife in his hand. At the time, I didn't know I was meant to die. I'm a 34-year-old mom of 2. I'm also an assistant catering manager at a prestigious boarding school. I believe it was November 2019. I was working morning shift, so I was up and out of the house by 5:45 a.m. I had to put some diesel in my car, so I made my way to the closest gas station. I go there quite frequently, so I know the attendants pretty well. So, as tired as we all were, we had small talk while waiting for the car to fill. I'm the only car there, and since it's summer, it's pretty light out at this point. Another car pulls up, looked like a fairly newer car. After their car was filled, I noticed the driver. A well-dressed, clean, middle-aged man. He got out and was rummaging under the passenger seat. He seemed agitated, and I was just minding my own business, but was obviously watching him because what else was I to do? The stranger looks me dead in the eyes, and I swear to you, he looked vacant. Like he was there physically, but his brain was not in the now. He then proceeds to stop scratching around for whatever he was looking for and jumps back into the driver's seat. Me, thinking he has done the decent human thing and has paid, notices he starts reversing quite fast out of the gas station when I hear the attendant shouting at him that he hasn't paid. The man hoots his horn twice as in a, "Oh shit, my bad," and is coming back. So the attendant is approaching his car to finish the transaction. Well, this guy then proceeds to try and run over the attendant. The wheels were skidding and smoke was coming from the tires. He almost succeeded and he is smiling the entire time. I'm just in shock. The attendants and I were all just like, what happened? We had a little chat about cameras and if everyone was okay. Anyway, off to work I go, and I ponder about this incident for about a week until I need to fill my car again. I see the same attendant who was helping me today from the day of the incident. I started chatting with him and the convo went something like this. Hey, do you remember the other day with that guy who drove off without paying? Yeah, that was hectic. Yeah, I know. So, did they catch him? Were you all able to track him down with the cameras? Yeah, they caught him in the next town over. Didn't you hear? Hear what? He had just shot some people at his workplace, his business partner, I think, and was going out with a blaze of glory. He had shot 2 more people when the police had caught him. I'm sorry. What? Yeah, and when they arrested him, he told the officers that he was trying to get his gun out to kill all of us, myself and the 3 attendants, when he stole the gas, but he couldn't find the bullets or the gun. One of those. This guy had an insane amount of bullets and more guns in the back of his car. He intended to kill us. All of us. He wouldn't have been reported to the police as early as he was if he succeeded. He planned to kill as many people as possible before getting caught. I still think about this all the time. I'm grateful he didn't hurt any of the attendants just trying to do their job. And I thank God every day that this guy couldn't find his gun